Yo, it's Elliot with Yo Elliot. You got strength questions, and I got your answers.
Yo, Elliot.
Well, today we got a question from Lukey Hux. Lukey asks, Yo Elliot, I got a question regarding women. If my relationship with a member of the opposite sex is shaky, it seems to affect my entire motivation in my life, gym, school, etc. And I want to know how I can better detach myself from these situations. So, Lukey, really, the question you're asking me is not really about women, but it's about eliminating distractions and increasing your focus and concentration so that you can hit your goals with precision accuracy. How's that sound? Because essentially, the women in your life, or the woman that's distracting you, or the woman that's giving you problems, is distracting you from doing some of the things that you know that would allow you to become the strongest version of yourself. You see, a lot of times we get into relationships thinking that the other person is going to add to me, but in reality, if we're not complete, we're not whole, we're not the strongest versions of ourselves first, and then we bring another partner on, then they subtract from you. It's almost like if you can imagine yourself as a container. And if you're not your strongest version of yourself, or the strongest container, you've got like leaks. And then you bring another person in, and it's like they just suck out of that leak, that hole that you have in your container. But if you are the strongest version of yourself, you're completely sealed, you're strong. So when you bring another person on, they can't suck energy out of you, they can't weaken you. In fact, you can now add to each other, granted that that person doesn't have a bunch of holes in their character also. So that's it. Bottom line is, you want to become the strongest version of yourself, and she's stopping you. What you've got to do is increase your focus and concentration on the things that you know you need to do, which is to train and to get smarter. There's a book I'm reading now called Thick Face, Black Heart by a Chinese author. Excellent book. I recommend everyone go get it. In it, she quotes Miyamoto. Let me see if I get this right. Musashi Miyamoto. And Musashi Miyamoto, actually, there's a book that I read several years ago by Miyamoto called the Book of Five Rings. Basically, this guy was a badass samurai soldier, and he would go around just challenging people, and he was totally cocky. He went around Japan challenging people and just killing people with his sword, and he would normally do it within like half a minute of the fight, and no one could beat him. So when asked, or when he was teaching one of his students, how is it that you just go and you just kick everybody's ass every time you fight? He says to this student, and this is quoted in the book that I'm referring to, he says, everything that you're feeling, set aside and think only of cutting. So the point is that when we're feeling, and he makes it very clear that that's what it is that we need to get rid of. When we're feeling, we're weak. Feelings and emotions are weak, regardless of what anyone says. They steer you in directions that are not necessarily pragmatic or practical at all times. I'm not saying that we've always got to think analytically and not with our heart, but if we've got our mind set on something like Miyamoto, which is to cut, you've got to eliminate feelings of fear, and fear is not just the only one. Most people think that that's the one that's going to destroy us, but even feelings of pride, feelings of ego, any type of feeling that's distracting you from being able to focus on cutting. And for you, cutting is getting your ass in the gym and getting smarter. So anybody or anything that's distracting you from your focus, if you ever watch golf, these guys, they don't want anybody even clapping. They don't want anybody talking. They don't want anybody doing anything because they're focused on what they're about to do. Those distractions may ultimately bring up feelings in the athlete, in the golfer. So they need that shit cut out. You need distractions cut out. Now, I'm not telling you don't have a girlfriend, don't try to get laid, but don't be so emotionally attached to what's happening to her. And you used the perfect term, my friend. You said detached. Shut your feelings off. Recognize, and here's the other thing too. Recognize your feelings when they're coming. Oh shit, you feel it in your body. The very first thing to do is recognize it in your body. Your body will tell you everything. Do you feel your heart swelling? Do you feel butterflies in your stomach? Do you feel like you're breathing short? Wherever it is in your body, take notice of where you're feeling it in your body. Draw attention to that area, look at it, and then just ignore it. Just walk away from it essentially, or move on to something else. The more you recognize the physical distraction in your body, the easier it is for you to control your emotions. So if you notice that every time your girlfriend comes around, you do this, you tighten your shoulders, just notice it, drop your shoulders, and move on. Now you've eliminated one of the tools that your body's using to really manipulate you through emotions. This video is going a little bit longer than I thought it should. So I'm going to cut it off there, my man. That's it. Eliminate distractions. Focus and concentrate on the very few things, one or two things that are very important to you. And like Miyamoto says, cutting and be detached. I think you know exactly what you need to do. Thanks for sending your question. Thank you, all of you, for sending questions, and I'll be back with another Yo Elliott coming up soon. See you then. Yo, Elliott!